Georgia's Constitutional Court, a short while ago, actually rejected a challenge to the results of October's parliamentary election. What does that mean for you and your intent going forward?
Well, that's a blow. It's a blow to the political process, a political way out that would have been very, in a way, easy and would have brought back the whole situation in a constitutional framework, recognizing that the elections had been rigged on two major constitutional points, which was the secrecy of the vote and the universality of the vote. So a positive decision by the Constitutional Court would have meant that we would have gone back to the statu quo ante without instability, peacefully, and then started a political process that would have led us in some time to elections. That was the easiest way to go to the only solution that any country knows how out of such a political crisis, which is new elections. Unfortunately,
what happens?
It appears that the pressure has been exerted on the Constitutional Court these days or yesterday in order to bring out this decision, which was taken without hearing the parties.
But, Madam President, what do you think happens now? So how do you think the situation could be resolved now?
Well, again, I want to say and I want to underline that the only way out, the only peaceful way out and the only constitutional way out, but the constitution seems to be something that the ruling party has now said goodbye to. But the only way is with new elections. It looks like the ruling party is now stiffening, both in the repression of the protests and is accentuated the violence and the attempts to intimidate the protesters. And this decision of the Constitutional Court means that they're also closing one by one all the possible doors that would lead to some form of renewed political process. So it's very worrying because the protests are only getting more and more ample in the capital city, but also in the regions. And now all the cities, big or small in Georgia, have their own protests, which are not linked one with another. These protests are not unlike what the Russian-type propaganda of the ruling party is saying, are not controlled by the political parties at all. Political parties are tolerated in the protests, some of them, and it's very loosely organized, I would say. So that is very difficult after one point to have any control on such a movement, which is fed by the violence and by the violation of human rights at all levels. On the side of the authorities, they do not seem to be ready to give in to any of the demands, and the demands are very clear. It's give me back my vote, give me back my European future, and I want elections. And
President,
it doesn't. Yeah.
What will you do? Will you, is there a chance that you could resign, that you would have to resign? Or will you go on in? How far are you prepared to go to change the situation?
The situation is not linked to, first of all, I don't have to resign. I have a mandate which goes until a new president is inaugurated. Their president is going to be inaugurated by the end of the month. It's not an election that is recognized by the population. So I will continue to represent the voice of the people that want their vote back, their future back, their European future back. And I will stay, which doesn't mean that it's not an alternative power, because I don't have any power. I'm staying in the constitutional framework completely, again, despite what the official propaganda is trying to portray. But there has to be someone that is the voice of the nation that wants to keep its European future. And I intend to continue to do that and to be also the contact point for our partners, our European and American partners, for the media, the voice of the people.
President, as you say, the current wave of protests is quite big but decentralized. Could you help in actually forming more institutional, so that information goes into one direction, so that everything's processed in a more cohesive way?
No, because there is no way in which it's not my role as a president, and if I wanted to have that role, I couldn't exert it, to be the organizer of the protest. What I can be is a bridge, a relay, in case the authorities want to open some form of dialogue with the people that are protesting on the streets when that time, and if that time comes. I'm the bridge between the people that are protesting and the outside world, because I can express their demands, and I have the trust of our partners abroad. But I certainly cannot organize, I cannot stop, I cannot accelerate. All that is in the hands of the people, and it's very, that is linked to this decision of the Constitutional Court. When you close one by one all the possibilities, what you are doing, in fact, is increasing the frustration of the people that are on the streets, and everybody knows that the increased frustration can then lead to anything. So it's a very concerning situation. And I know that all our partners, because basically that's what I'm doing the whole day, all our partners are very concerned. We hear more and more voices that call for an end to violence, for releasing the very big number of people that have been arrested for nothing, just for expressing their position, which is that they don't want to have a government that they consider to have been not with the approval of the majority of the people elected, decide without mandate to cut our ties with the European Union and throw the country into the arms of Russia.
But, Madam President, a final question. A lot of commentators see this as a battle of East versus West. Is that too simplistic, or is that how we should see it?
It's in part that, yes. I think that Russia has now diversified its strategy. It has not been able to win over militarily Ukraine, but is trying to test an alternative strategy, which is to have a hybrid war, an electoral war, which it has had in Georgia. The methods used were Russian-inspired, and clearly Russia would consider, and has said so, when there was this declaration of the Prime Minister to turn the back to European Union, he was congratulated by Mr. Putin, by Mr. Medvedev, by Mr. Dugin. And we see something a bit similar tested in Romania in another manner. Each time it's sophisticated and it uses different forms. And of course, Moldova has been also subject to some of the same methods. So it's difficult not to see that this is a strategy, that it concerns countries that are all on the shore of the Black Sea, which we know represents a very important strategic element for the foreign policy of the European Union and of our American partners. So yes, it is Russia trying to make gains and points over the West.